Hello, class. This will be our review of essay number 3, The Art of the Disjointed Short Story. By now, you should have read up to 65, page 65 in Junot Díaz's Drown. I really like this collection of short stories, but I wanted to go over the prompt as well. Okay, we have a prompt here due November 8th before Friday, Friday before midnight, excuse me. Okay, but what I want to think about is I want to think about how we are going to now use, just like Las Meninas, Get Out, Baldwin's piece, we're now going to use a collection of short stories to sharpen our critical thinking apparatus. Okay, that collection of short stories is titled Drown. Okay, let me give you the topic background. In Junot Díaz's semi-autobiographical Drown, readers are introduced to a number of themes that are not only relatable to the Dominican immigrant experience, but reveal much about our human condition. The disjointed form of the 10 short stories almost mimic or mirror the fragmentation and disconnected experiences of those who choose to leave their mother country behind and migrate towards a chance at better opportunities. From immigration and the immigrant experience, Dominican identity and a complex masculinity, to performance, the different types of literal and figurative mass, Drown is a work that demands closer critical analysis. Okay, so this is our background here, right? Junot Díaz creates a fragmented type story, right? I want you to think about, and he doesn't always, not all of his works are in this way. But form is going to matter here, and I want to think about the form of this short story, these short stories, excuse me. The forms are, I think they're intentional, right? We can see sometimes stories bleed into the next, sometimes they don't. They seem like different characters altogether. But we're going to think about this, okay? We're going to think about this as we read the text. By now you should have done the dissection on Junot Díaz's Drown from 1 to 65. I think that's up to, let me double check. That would be up to right before we hit Aguantando. Okay, so Aguantando is our fifth story, right? And that's like almost like our fourth story, okay? The next final pages will be 5 through 10, which start with Drown, the titular piece, okay? But we can think about this here. The writing task in this essay then is what? In a critically analyzed, well-synthesized, textually supported essay of at least 5 pages, create an essay that uses a claim or claims of your choosing. So we are going to, that could be resemblance claim, sorry, blanking out for a minute there, resemblance claim, evaluation claim works here as well, but also we're going to have a lesson soon on causal claim, okay, and that's going to be in your causal arguments will be in your Lunsford reading, okay. So you will choose that. Like I said, this is just a next step in our evolution of sharpening our critical thinking apparatus, our critical mind, our ability to be critical scholars, okay? And select a minimum of 3 short stories from Drown which exemplify a larger overall theme in the work, okay? Additionally, you must incorporate at least 2 fallacies of argument. This is where it gets a little tricky. To further critically analyze the stories you have chosen, okay? If you take a look at the Lunsford, okay, and I'll have a minor lesson on this. I think this is pretty self-explanatory with the Lunsford readings. I've had a couple lessons, but when it comes to causal and fallacies, I think I'm going to lump those together, and it's going to be a quick lesson. But what I want to talk about is when you think of fallacies, and and this is a huge part of this critical thinking class, is I want us to think about how things are presented fallaciously, obviously, okay? But when we think of fallacies, sorry, I'm just trying to find the exact page here. Okay, that would be on page 79. There's a number of fallacies, and like I said, I'll go over these over in the lesson, which is coming up very shortly. Okay, fallacies of emotional argument. Okay, there's scare tactics, either or choices, etc. Slippery slope. Fallacies of ethical argument, appeals to false authority, dogmatism, etc. Ad hominem arguments. Fallacies of logical argument. Okay, hasty generalization. Faulty causality, begging the question, etc. There's a number of them. Straw man, non sequitur. Okay. It's going to be challenging. What is going to be challenging for this essay specifically is how are you going to include this, right? Let me give you an example. An immigration fallacy, a fallacy of the immigrant, is almost a slippery slope argument, right? And I'm giving you a very basic example. If we let one in, all will come in. If we let the Chinese come, then the Mexicans will come. If we let the Mexican come, then the Dominican will come. Then guess what? This is not our country anymore. Our quote unquote, right? And that's a common argument we hear. Okay, these slippery slope type arguments, right? Oh, once they have, gun control is another good one. Okay, gun control. Once they ban guns, once they have background checks, the next step is taking away our guns. Okay, it's a slippery slope argument. It's a fallacy in the sense that doesn't necessarily lead to that, right? And that will make more sense after you've read the fallacy of argument, which you should have read already. That's 79 to 94 in the Lunsford, and also on my quick lesson on it. Okay, so after you've read that, you will understand. Okay, immigration, masculinity is rife with ideas of fallacious arguments. Okay, so this is where your critical thinking chops will come to play. How are you bringing this to the argument? Using fallacies of argument to explore these kind of larger themes. I have a list here of themes, okay, that I want you to work from. If you will notice that they blend, sometimes merge, totally fine, okay? If you feel like you want to write about more than one, that's totally cool. But like I said, I want you to be focused here. You have 5 pages to work with and 3 stories to work with. I want you to be really mindful of unpacking the stories over kind of an overarching theme, but also including ideas of proving to the reader, to me and the reader of this piece, that you understand how fallacies work. Okay, these possible themes to explore are the immigrant experience, Dominican identity, okay, masculinity and machismo, which is prevalent throughout a number of pieces, cultural assimilation, okay, internalized racism, performance and masks, xenophobia, female subjugation, and that's more like, kind of a woman's feeling of being trapped or put down in the culture, right? And sexual exploitation and power. Okay, and as I put there, fallacy should be supported by using everything as an argument. Okay, so you can definitely unpack the specific fallacies in your argumentation. Okay, so returning to this, after you've accomplished this essay, you should have done what? You should have chosen 3 stories, and if you want to have a resemblance claim with the 3 stories, perfect. You want to make an evaluation claim as to which one is stronger. That's helpful because that shows that you understand not only the 3 stories you've chosen, but the work as a whole and also the theme you've chosen as well. Okay, so having a resemblance claim, but I'm going to leave that up to you. You can review on the claim cast which claim you would like to make, how you would like to incorporate these stories, but you're really treating these stories as separate and not separate entities because they are connected. But I want you to think about how they're presented here, okay? And I will have specific lessons, not on each story, but I will try to touch on some stories that have specific, pushing to these themes. Okay, so I'll always be returning to these, so you can expect those very shortly. But up until that point, I want you to finish Drown. Like I said, you should have read up to 65. With that discussion, you already kind of have a sense of which stood out to you, and I want you to already be thinking about some of these themes as you've read here. Okay, when you finish the Drown, then I want you to return to that. Okay, and please, as always, message me with any questions, concerns. If this doesn't make sense, that's fine, right? I want you to be open and ask these questions, especially if the assignments don't make sense. Okay, but what we're doing here is choosing 3 stories, choosing, I would say, a focused theme, okay, and then also creating a which ones, why do they exemplify this larger theme, and how do they do this is super key. Okay, if you'd like to make an evaluative claim, you can, but that's not what I'm asking for here. Still, like I said, it might be beneficial because this will help you understand the stories a bit better, just like we did with Get Out, right? Hopefully with Get Out, and Baldwin, you understood those stories better because you were making an evaluation claim. You could do something similar here if you'd like. If you want to make just a resemblance claim, that would work as well. But ultimately, how do they tie into these theme or themes here? Okay, and like I said, don't pick too many because I want you to be focused here, right? I would say 2 max. And then also, how are you using these fallacies of argument when unpacking these themes of immigrant, of Dominican identity, masculinity, machismo, etc. Okay. And that's it. Like I said, hit me up if you have questions, and I hope we have a good essay. This is due November 8th before midnight. Have a great one. Bye bye.